Alright, let's get started for the day. So it's 7:30. Nothing really popped up here. Um, we had ABUS come up, but looks like fairly light volume, and it's pulling back a little bit at the moment. So I don't expect anything too great from this at the moment. Gotta do something real quick. Alright. Yeah, as I was saying, um, we had ABUS pop up, but it doesn't really look like it's doing much at the moment. Highest gapper we have on the day so far is SONA, which I got up over here, which also really hasn't done too much. Popped up, early this morning, 4 o'clock, and has kind of just pulled back the entirety of the move throughout the morning. So I'm gonna fix this banana suit getting all bunched up. Alright, so give it a second here and we'll see if ABUS comes back up on any kind of volume. Gonna up my share size a little bit on this since it's a lower price stock. Put the 15. But it doesn't. I mean, it's consolidating around VWAP right now, so has potential to come up. But again, trading on very light volume. Yeah, and this is really the best thing we've seen so far today. I haven't really looked at GME yesterday. So how did GME end up yesterday? Sold off a bit, but generally just trading sideways. Didn't really move too much in comparison to how much GME usually moves. So nothing really weird going on there. Just moving sideways. And the overall market is looking good. Coming back up to these all-time highs. A lot of selling off at the end of the day, but somewhat to be expected. Nothing out of the ordinary, at least. We had FTFT come up earlier this morning, like 7:15. Well, FTFT actually looks pretty good. I haven't really been watching it, but it's looking much nicer than ABUS right now. Let's get FTFT up on the active trading window here. So the 5-minute buy spot is over 775. I'm gonna watch this for a second to see what happens. We missed the obvious buy spot down here at 756, so we're a little extended from where we want to buy. It just came up over this 5-minute high, but now it's pulling back a little bit. So wait a second here, see if we can get some volume coming back up. Seems like it's getting bought up coming into the low 760s. Oh no, I don't have my bongos on. Oh, tragedy is struck. Got UPC coming up now too. UPC up over here. UPC coming up, but on pretty light volume. Let's see on FTFT whether or not this looks like it's going to make a move here. And it might be fast when it decides to make a move one way or the other. So we just tapped off this floor again, 761. So now maybe as we're coming up over 770, we might want to buy here. So bought 15 shares coming up over 770. See if we can get the push over 775. We can push up over 775, and we'll buy some more shares. And we'll hold it down to our floor right here at 761. And this 5-minute candle closes in a minute and a half. So closing above 775 is where we want to be on this 5-minute candle. Again, as we're pushing up over 775 is the add spot. So added up over 775. So now we're looking for a profit target of $8 just to start. So looking for this push up. Yeah, definitely a little resistance on the daily. Back here, pushing into $8, so that's where we're going to look for our first selling point. But we're looking a little weak. I'm going to actually take off a couple shares here. I'm just looking a little weak right now. And you know, the market in general, low float market, has been fairly weak lately, so kind of need to shield ourselves from some of these losses we could potentially take. We're pushing down to 775, but you know, we put in, we tapped off, it bounced back up. So we seem to be having a little bit of a harder time holding these levels. We break down below 775 now. We gotta cut it here. So unfortunately, a very small trade. I think the obvious buy spot was moving up above 756. So when we actually got the move up above 770, I was kind of being careful here. We bought into 775 and only got about a 10-cent breakout before we actually started pulling back. So I'm just gonna cut it early, see if we can put in a little bit of a better setup that gets us a bigger move. Yeah, I didn't realize FTFT was grinding up so well. I guess I had it on watch over here, but yeah, I didn't really realize it was going so well. So now we're pushing up again. We have two candles with pretty big tails, so we might be seeing a push up now through 8. But it's just having, it's struggling on these breakouts. So I don't really feel super safe buying into them right now. Um, yeah, I gotta miss such a good move from 7 to 7:30. It's really unfortunate. You know, only popped up on my scanners twice. I'm surprised by that. I guess it was just moving up fairly slowly. And it didn't make it above that 8% change over 5 minutes. That is, quite a big move that has to happen to trigger that. Yeah, we're gonna wait for a 5-minute setup on FTFT. We'll give it a second. Hopefully it pulls back a little bit. Yeah, the float's high. I would say 25 million isn't like super crazy though. Also, morning Shamshir, what's going on, man? I don't think 25 million is like out of the realm of possibility for trading. Um, Problem is, I hopped in on this a little late. It popped up back here on my scanners on this candle, but I wasn't really paying attention because I had to take a shower and stuff to get ready for the stream. So when I hopped on at 7:30, I got on a little late. I missed this like obvious buy spot here. So on the move up on the 1 minute. So I got in late, up in near 770, and like between 770 and 775, and it pushed it to 785, and then it, like immediately pulled it back. And this was like the start of a new 5-minute candle, and it just looked so weak. It pulled back pretty much the entire move. I just sold off everything I was holding just because the breakout just didn't hold the way I thought it should. But you are right. I mean, on higher float stocks, the breakouts are definitely going to be. As you can see here, I made a whopping 30 cents. I suppose I didn't lose money, so I guess I'll take it. Yeah, I'm probably going to wait for a 5-minute setup on this. So we just started the new 5-minute candle. So now the high is 786, so pushing up over 786 is going to be the 5-minute setup. On the 1 minute, I guess we could buy right now, since we just made a 1-minute breakout above 778. Yeah, that is true. I mean, 30 cents is better than nothing. So getting a little bit of a sell-off. Yeah, so an unfortunate false breakout in this 1 minute here. We broke out and didn't really hold up. Man, this thing's dips are getting bought up like really well. The problem is each time it dips, it seems to be getting a little bit lower. So, see, maybe if this thing dips below 770 again, it looks like it's holding up above 765. I'll buy some. But the dips are getting bought up, pretty nicely. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a sell-off again. Pushing up. See how we look. See if we hold up this move. We have a little bit of indecision pushing up. Alright, so we're pulling back a little bit. The fact that it held above 786 is really good. Yeah, dude, this thing is just trading really it's trading really wonky. This is a nice push up, but it came after like a 20-cent sell-off. Oh man, just when you think it's weak, I think it just takes off. Seems to be struggling a little, holding above $8. Very high volume on this 1 minute green candle, which is good to see. So now these are the two highest volume candles of the day it just put in. So we're definitely seeing some increased volume coming into this. So maybe if this dips back down into like the 80s, and maybe I'll try to take a buy on this. It seems to be holding 90 pretty well. I want to see this go into the 80s. And if this goes into the 80s, I'll try to take a dip trade on it, since the dips seem to be getting bought up pretty well. But I need a little bit of a clearer dip, or else I know I'm just gonna get absolutely skinned alive on these fills for Thinkorswim. So drop down to 792. Also, we passed 745. Nothing really popped up on the scanners. Yeah, I mean, it's looking really strong. It's just like, at least on the 1 minute, it's acting like really wonky. Like the sell-offs it has, and like it getting bought up after all of them. Let's see if we can get a little bit of a sell-off into 780 right now. Into the 80s. Seems to be holding 790 pretty well. I want to see it dip down. Just a little bit of selling. So I got filled for 15 shares at 787. Didn't get filled for the other 15 that I tried to buy. The dips have been getting bought up, like, really nicely. So now on the push above $8, we'll probably try to buy again. Otherwise, if it pushes back down closer to 780, probably sell. We caught like the very bottom of this dip this last candle, which is good. So dipping a little bit more, but the dips have been getting bought up, so okay with this at the moment. We just started a new 5-minute candle, so it might be a little bit of selling. But I think we have a decent cost basis at the moment. At least on the 5-minute chart. On the 5-minute chart, FTFT has been trading really, really well. But on the 1 minute, not so much. It's a little choppy on the 1 minute. Oh, we're selling off a little bit more. Let's see if we get bought back up here. Now on the break over 789. Might want to buy a couple more shares. Pushing up. If we break over 789. Got not many shares, 1,000 shares sitting at 789. Nothing too crazy. Let's see if we get to move up here, or if we get a little bit more of a sell-off. Yeah, it looks like the selling is pretty weak right now, which is good to see. We're coming down to 780. We got some support at 780, which is good. Just spiked through it, but nothing too crazy. This is what I was saying before. I mean, even though it did drop, it immediately got bought back up, which is good to see. And very light volume on this sell-off, so if it turns around, we should see a good move up. So, try to buy a few more shares here, as it looks like we're pushing back up. So the last time we put in a big tail on a candle, we had a nice move up directly afterwards with decent, solid volume, highest volume candle of the day. So we just put in a red candle with a pretty big tail. So we'll see if we get a continued sell-off here. If we get a continued sell-off, we'll drop the shares we have now. Otherwise, we're looking for this move over 790. Just dip below 780 again. But we are getting bought up every time we dip below 780. So kind of giving me the confidence to hold at the moment. Got a pretty big spike of selling. Quite a lot of large sell orders going through. So really the problem is going to be when we see one of these red candles, when we see the volume actually, tick up here. If we start getting volume that's above 100,000 shares on a 1 minute candle, then that's going to be a really bad look. Cost basis right now sitting at 785. So we're looking good at the moment. We want to look for this move back up to $8, but we've put in 7 1 minute red candles in a row, so it's quite a few. So we'll see how it looks on the first tick up. So if we get a 1 minute candle tick up and we come up over 786 and we just like immediately sell off and we come back down to 780, then probably take off the shares then. But we're waiting for a breakout in one direction or the other. So now we've put in 3, pretty nice consolidation candles here. So this is kind of turning into like a very small wedge up. So it looks like it broke down, which is not great. So we'll see how it holds. If it breaks down below 775, then yeah, we're not looking spectacular. So I took off half at least. I want to see how it looks selling into 770. Still on very light volume, so this pullback still looks okay to me. Obviously, it's a little bit of an extended pullback. If we start pushing above 780 now, I'll probably put back on the half of the shares that I just sold off. But the volume still looks okay to me. So that's the reason I kind of want to stay in this trade. And on the 5 minute, I think we're still looking okay. So we got 5 seconds left on this candle. See if we can push the next candle up to 780. Quite a few red candles in a row here. But I want to catch this on the move back up. Volume is still very light on the pullback, which is great. So we want to hop back in this, and we want to see this bounce back up towards $8 with volume. So the buy spot for me now is going to be coming up over 778. It's going to be the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Let's see how we fare coming into 770 if we sell off. And if it looks terrible in the 770, then we're just going to sell. It's really the volume that is making me confident in this. The fact that the volume has been so light on this pullback, even though it has been a pretty long pullback, it's just it's really been on no volume, which is good. Or at least no volume compared to most of the other candles today. Pushing down. Yeah, so now the buy over 777 is what we're looking for. And, on the first candle that we push up, we want to see increased volume. So if we see a green candle push up and the volume is still the same, then we'll sell off the shares we're holding currently. I'm only holding 15 shares right now, so not too worried riding this down to 770. But if we drop down below there, I would say we're not looking spectacular. So coming down to 770 again. It's really like how many red candles can we possibly put in? Let's see if we hold below 770 or we get bought back up. Yeah, just having a really rough time here. Alright, so now we're getting some. So I bought again here. I saw some nice green volume coming in on the orders window. Now we're putting in a very long tail. And it looked like we were pushing up. So I bought coming up through 770 because I saw a lot of really nice green volume coming in. I'll drop these shares that I just bought if we push back down to 770. Otherwise, if we push up now through 775, then we're looking at adding. So tried to add at 775, didn't get a great fill, so added at 778. So now we want to look for the push up through 780, and we want to see this happen on volume. So you can already see that we have higher volume than a lot of these other candles, and we're only 40 seconds into it. So let's see if we can get the push up. First profit target is going to probably be close to 790. My cost base is a little high right now at 778. Looks like we're having a little bit of a hard time holding above 80. We just started a new 5-minute candle, and we're coming into 8 o'clock right now. So now is also the time to watch the scanners for other stuff that's popping up. On the 5-minute, the push above now 784 is going to be the breakout point. That's what we're going to be looking for. And if we come back down below 775, I'll probably just sell off these shares. So let's see if we hold it here. So I'm holding a little bit more shares than the last time we made this move. God, we're getting a lot of selling coming into this. Whew. So yeah, we just got quite the sell-off. Really, I was hoping that we saw an uptick in volume in the buying. I thought we were looking okay there, but oh my God, what a fill on that sell! It's brutal. So I'm back down to 15 shares on this. Nothing popped up at 8 o'clock. So yeah, FTFT as a brutal sell-off, pushed up to 785. Then we sold from 780 down to 766 in about 5 seconds. So unfortunate. It's really looking for this move back up to $8, and it could still do it, but I'm fully out right now, and I'm gonna wait for a little bit of a better setup. But I think we had we had bought on the dip as it came back down through 80 the first time, so I think our cost basis was somewhere around 787. And then one of these candles, when it pushed back, or when it pushed down to 775, we took out half. We rode the other half all the way down, and then on this, when we saw good green volume coming back into it, I bought coming up through 770, and then I bought again at 778. So we ended up with cost basis around 778 with 45 shares, pushing over 780. And we really need to see this continuation, because, yeah, without the continuation, obviously, we were holding enough shares where it was going to hurt if we dropped like this. But we were really looking for the move back up to $8. First profit target probably would have been around 90, since we hit a little bit of resistance pushing back up to 90 on these two candles. So I probably would have taken off a third, would have taken off like 15 shares pushing up here. And then I probably would have taken off another 15 pushing up through 8. And then I would have held the remaining until we saw a reason to sell. But, yeah, we just ended up dropping. And that happens. So now FTFT in a bit of a consolidation period right now. Nothing really else moving this morning. Fairly uneventful. Nothing popped up at 8. We had ABUS pop up at 7:30, I believe, but it's not really doing too much at the moment. So yeah, UPC popped up at some point, but it doesn't really seem like it's doing much. What we got here? So SONA is the highest gapper of the day, but yeah, it's pushed up and then pulled back pretty much the entirety of the move, so it's really not even in the game here. We got FTFT coming back up a little bit right now. On very light volume, this push up though. So we'll see what happens with it. It's pushing. So we just missed a solid move on FTFT here. Doing so on lighter volume than I would have thought though, especially this initial green candle here on the 1 minute. But you know, at this point, I don't really trust FTFT for these smaller breakouts, because the last time we had a nice breakout here, it just completely sold off. So just an unfortunate thing. We'll see if this ends up selling off, but candle pulled back half of the move. Half of the move that it made, so I don't love that. She said UPC consolidating. Yeah, UPC, the thing is, it is moving sideways, but it's doing so on like such light volume. Like, the volume is so light that I don't think this thing is going to make a move. Like, their candles were like literally there are no shares traded, several candles. So I just don't think there's enough volume to actually take a trade on it. Yeah, FTFT just really choppy at the moment. These candles that it's putting in are just, make a solid move. Like this 1 minute candle made a solid move, pulled back more than half the move, and pulled back over the breakout point. So I don't know. Can't really trust these candles right now. It is pushing towards the higher side of its range right now on the 1 minute. It's now the break over 789. Probably going to make the move over 790. But I don't know. I feel like this thing does not look strong enough to make another move back up. Every time it goes up now, or every time it's getting bought up, it's just immediately getting sold into. So yeah, it just dropped down to 775 again. That's just way too choppy. I'll still watch it, but I don't know, I just don't love the way this thing is trading right now. I thought this was fine, even if putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, putting 11 1 minute red candles in a row, which is quite a lot. But it put in all of these red candles on pretty light volume. So as we came down here and we started getting bought up, then I was like, you know what, now's a good time to buy. I think it might have a pop back up. It popped back up, but then immediately sold off back down to the lows. So it's just like, I don't know. Can't really trust it very much. UPC coming up, but again, UPC on, it did this pop on 10,000 shares. So it's like, you know, when the volume is so low, it's really just like gambling, because it's like this pop on 10,000 shares, this could have been just one person buying a position, and it's like if you decide to buy into that, and that one person then immediately sells it off, it could just drop back down 30 cents. So it's really just like buying and hoping someone's gonna to buy into it. Another false breakout in the 1 minute on FTFT. It's just like the story of this stock. Breaking out, falling back, selling off. Now on the 5 minute, I mean, this 5 minute chart looks very strange. Had 3 candles in a row, 2 candles that essentially didn't move and have, you know, quite a large range. Very similar low, and now we're putting in a red candle. And this red candle is on higher volume than the other 2 candles, so it's just not great. Not great. But at least we have something moving this morning. Yesterday was rough, man. I didn't take any trades at all yesterday. And I didn't trade into the open yesterday because I had to go to the DMV to get my plates. So didn't take any trades into the open. So I don't really know how it went into the open, but pre-market was just like completely dead yesterday. And now we have FTFD pushing down to these lows again. Kind of bottomed out at 766. Might be a place to take a dip trade, but it now just, you know, put in this 5 minute candle with the highest volume 5 minute since 7:45. So it's like, can you really trust that it's not going to sell off at this point? So it just dropped another cent, hit 765. So FTFT might be one of these ones that just kind of doesn't really do much, and then as we get closer to 9, we'll see it pop back up. I'd like to get a 5 minute setup on this if possible. Probably could have bought off 765 just because you know, it's like the bailout point for that is like if you buy off 765 and it drops to 764, just sell it. Because 764 right now is VWAP. So, you know, if it's dropping below 765, which is like the floor that it's putting in, it's probably not looking good. So we'll see if we come down close to these levels again. No volume on this candle with 10 seconds left, really. Now the breakout above 773 might be a place to buy, but if I was going to buy on this, I'd like to see it come back down to 765 and then hold that level, and then I'll buy like at 777 or something on the way back up. What's up? it is going up, but the volume is so light. It's like when you have light volume like this, it can pop up and then drop down twice as much in the next candle. There's just like um, there's no safety net when you have such light volume. So we're pushing back down again to 765. If we hold 765 here, we didn't hold 765, but we did immediately get bought up. So I'm going to take a couple shares at 765. And then, yeah, my bailout point's going to be if it drops below 764. So I'm fine with this, like having a 1 cent bailout point for the potential to move up. We seem to be bouncing off of around VWAP, several times now. So I'm fine with taking this trade with, smaller share size. It seems like we got a pretty nice bounce off there. I'm probably gonna try to take these shares off, but I didn't get filled as it pushed up above 780. So yeah, so I took the shares off. I mean, like I took that whatever 15-cent trade, just because that bounce was like fairly violent, and these bounces usually do not hold on FTFT. So I just took the bounce off VWAP, like put in the 15-cent trade, and just took it off the table. So I'm fine with that. See if we do end up getting a move back up, but I mean at this point I just don't really trust FTFT very much at all. All of these nice moves have very shortly after just got completely sold into. We had a few things hit the scanner in the last few minutes, but nothing really moving. WAFU just popped up, but it's on super light volume. UPC looks like it's pulling back a little bit. So I think FTFT is still definitely the one to watch. We'll see if we can get some momentum coming back into it, but it just doesn't seem to be there right now. We've had some decent green candles, but most of our good green candles are just followed by just like horrendous red candles. So we just gotta wait, be patient, see if we can get a better setup, see if we can see some volume coming into this. So this is kind of just what I'm talking about, pushed up to 785, immediately sold off back down to 776. And a lot of the selling is on light volume. It's just like, so like that's good, I guess. But it also kind of indicates that people, just aren't sitting on the bid. So people aren't willing to buy on the bid when it's pushing down. So it could take this dip trade here, just pushing below 770. So this is quite the dip. I didn't take any shares on it, but that might have been a good place to consider taking a dip trade. After like this, huge red candle, that's pretty big. I would say that's pretty extended, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a push back up directly after this. So we'll see if we get the continued sell-off. If we come back down into the VWAP area, maybe I'll take another dip trade on it, but again, I just don't really trust don't really trust FTFT very much. So the last two 5-minute breakouts, this candle right here is a 5-minute breakout. So we broke out in the 5-minute, and then now we're 10 cents lower than where we started. The previous 5-minute breakout before that also failed. So we have two false breakouts on the 5-minute. So I mean, how do you have confidence to buy into this when the stock is acting like this? It's just very difficult. We got 2 more minutes on the 5-minute on this 5-minute candle. I suppose it does have the potential to come back up, but I think it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very difficult for it to come all the way back up to at least the last breakout point, which I think is 783 right now. Very, very difficult. It's coming back down towards VWAP again. Still holding a little bit above 765, 766, which was our previous floor. If it comes back down to VWAP and it looks like it's holding steady there, then I'll take a dip trade on it, but I don't think I'm going to take a dip trade on this right now. Even though it has pulled back quite a bit, I mean, this 1-minute candle it's a big red candle on the 1-minute, similar to this candle back here, and after that we kind of consolidated a little bit and actually dipped down a bit more. This is when we had that drop through VWAP. So I think people are just looking to buy dips on this at the moment. It seems like all of our decent volume is after pretty big dips, pretty big red candles. And it seems like the volume is dropping off on every single breakout. So I'd say people are not trying to buy into breakouts on this stock at the moment. And just put in this 5-minute candle. 5-minute candle closed red and failed, this 5-minute breakout. So definitely could have been better. Volume on that candle was lighter than previous candles, so I guess that's good. But highest volume candle recently is a red candle. Now we're coming back down to VWAP. So if we push down into VWAP now, maybe I'll take another dip trade on it. And when we're pushing into VWAP with these dip trades, the stop needs to be super tight. So it's like if we sell off into VWAP and we buy off of it, if it drops down a cent, just cut it. Because usually when you're coming down into VWAP, you want it to hold the level as soon as it breaks through VWAP. And if it doesn't hold that level, then a lot of other people are going to sell off. UPC is grinding up, but the volume is just way too light, man. The highest volume candle of the day on the 1-minute right now is a red candle, so definitely not a great indicator. I mean, it is climbing, but the volume is so light. Like these 5-minute candles, the highest volume 5-minute candle recently was 60,000 shares. That's like nothing. It's crazy how light that volume is. So I can't justify taking a trade on that with such little volume coming into it. So FTFT for some reason just went crazy. Broke out above 785, which is the 5-minute breakout point, but now is selling off again. We'll see if it comes back up, but this is just like the story of the stock right now. This thing's popping off and then selling off. So it's just like, I don't know. I definitely don't have the confidence to buy into a breakout on this. I feel like you have to buy dip trades on this. Buying into these breakouts is just abysmal. You know, on the 5 minute, the breakout was above 785. It broke out above 785, moved 5 cents, and now it's pulled back 7 cents. Ooh, volume coming in on UPC. What's going on with that? So let's get UPC up on here. So the volume has finally come into UPC. Was there like additional news or something? There's not even any news on it today. Wait, they did a public offering yesterday. Why is this going up? Did not do an offering yesterday? That's what it said. It's unclear why this is going up at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any news on it. But it's coming up, and the volume is, you know, 5x volume on these last couple candles, so can't argue with it. So now I'd like to see a little bit of a, maybe like a little red candle on the 1 minute so we can actually buy into this. Seems to be holding above 40 pretty well. Alright, so now we'll see what this dip looks like on it. So if the dip immediately gets bought back up, then, you know, we're looking good. If the dip doesn't seem like it's being bought up, we're going to have to wait for a setup. Dip seems like it's being bought up. FTFT, taking a dump, coming back down below VWAP on very high volume. Which is not really what you want to see. So again, you know, in UPC, it came up on high volume, but now highest volume candle of the day is a red candle, a big red candle. So it was looking really good for a minute there, though. And we're pushing back up. How are we looking? So now the 1 minute setup is going to be above 540. So we got a lot of mixed buying and selling on this. Let's see which way it ends up going here. I don't love that this red candle is the highest volume candle. It's just really unfortunate to see. Like, if that pullback had been on lighter volume, this would have been great. I think people are going to be a little bit spooked by that. So let's see if we push up here. Quite a big seller at 42. So I think it's going to be hard to break through that with the volume that we're moving right now. FTFT dropping even harder now through VWAP, so it's kind of why we didn't want to trade it. We knew something like that could happen. It was acting a little wonky. So it's pushing back down now. Let's see how it holds up at this high 520s. So it seemed to get bought up pretty nicely. God, what is that fill? Oh my god, dude. It's sitting at 532. I got filled at 536. Still absolutely horrendous. So I tried to buy at the low 530s, but yeah, I got filled at 536. So I'm just gonna have to hold that. Uh, Bailout point's gonna be 527 on UPC. What we want to see is some green volume coming back into this, and then we'll add pushing up over 542. So we added. So break over 550 is going to be our first profit target here. So we took off half the shares above 550. Got filled at actually a pretty decent price. So I'm taking off profit a little earlier because we've seen the low flow market be a little bit questionable in the last few weeks. So I'm going to try to take the profit where I can get it, and then I'm going to hold these shares, like the remaining 15 that I have, up and until I have a reason to sell them off. And we're looking a little weak over 550. Even though this is the highest volume candle, you know, if we start putting in a red candle the next candle, I'm going to sell these shares off because this is extremely high volume and we're still struggling above 550. So yeah, so I'm going to sell these off. For how much volume we put in, I feel like we should have made that move a little bit quicker and held those levels a little bit better. So, like I said, being a little careful today. If it seems like momentum is coming back into the market and, you know, this thing goes crazy, you know, maybe the next stock that we trade, as we see it coming up, we'll be a little bit more confident. But, yeah, just for the amount of volume it pushed, and obviously now it's you know, going off, but for the amount of volume that we had in this candle, we were still struggling to stay over 550. But that's looking good right now. So if any of you guys are still in this trade, good for you. Crushing it. This is uncharacteristic of the market we've been seeing in the last few weeks, though, where most of these breakouts just, you know, immediately come back on us. So I think I ended up making like an average of, you know, 15 cents on 30 shares. I'll take that for right now. Fine with it. Thing seems to be pushing higher. Really, really nice volume these last 3 candles. Really can't complain about that. This candle in particular is looking really good. Still got 10 seconds on it. It's pushing almost 200,000 shares of volume. I would expect maybe a little bit of a pullback here. We just had quite a big move and on really, really nice volume. So if we do get a pullback, we want to see it on lighter volume. You know, for the next breakout. We'll try to be a little bit more confident since it seems like the stock is doing pretty well. Now, so the 1 minute breakout is going to be above 581. And it's, you know, pushing above it before even putting in a new candle. So, looking insanely strong. But, you know, 1 minute candle does look like it, yeah, it looks like it closed red there. So, yeah, that wasn't really, you know, not really a real pullback since we did make a new high on this candle. So really on pullbacks, you wanna see them stay below the high of the previous candle if you're gonna put in a little bit of a red candle pullback. Also keep in mind, on the 5 minute, we've put in 7 5-minute green candles in a row. So, little extended on the 5 minute. Seems like these dips are getting bought up pretty well, though, which is good. So just spiked down to 67. This time the dip didn't get bought up nearly as quick. So we'll see if we're gonna get a little bit more selling off, or if it's gonna start coming back up. But I don't want to take a dip trade on it since we're so far away from view up. Probably the level to take the dip trade off is going to be 550, so we're still kind of far away from 550 as well. So I don't want to take a dip trade here since if I do take a dip trade, it still definitely has room to run down. So now it just spiked down to 557, so we're getting closer to that dip trade territory. And as it spiked down there, got bought up very quickly. So that's really nice. So now if we push down into the 550s, still getting bought up, a little slower than last time. Not anything too wrong with that at the moment. But if we start pushing into the 550s, as we get lower in the 550s, I consider taking a dip trade off of 550. Otherwise, now the 1 minute breakout is going to be at 574. This is the last minute of this 5-minute candle. On the 5 minute, the breakout point is very high, 589. So I don't think we're going to be buying into a 5-minute breakout here, just because we would need to hold through quite the pullback to still be in trend. And another little bit of unfortunateness here on the volume. This 5-minute candle is, by far the highest volume of the day, and it looks like it's either going to close red or it's going to close completely even. So usually on highest volume candles, you want to see, nice green move. And this candle closed exactly where it started, so completely even. Now on the push up through 72, probably the buy spot in the 1 minute. I did not get filled, obviously. Story of my life. But it seems to have pulled back a little bit off that breakout either way. So a little bit of a false breakout there. Probably good that I didn't get filled on the push up. So now as we're coming down, again, watching off of this 50 level, gonna try to take a dip trade if we come down closer to that. So push down to 54, but you got bought up immediately before I could even do anything. So see if we can push down a little bit again here. So pushing down to 57. So try to take shares. I have an order sitting here now at 55, but didn't get filled. We'll see if it spikes down again if we can get filled, and then okay, so I got filled. So now our bailout point is going to be below 49. Because 49 is this previous level of resistance back here. So willing to take a 6-cent dip here, and we want to see the move back up. So we're hoping to bounce off of these previous level of resistance. Also, we're quite close to view up, so I think it was a fair price to buy at. Yeah, I filled at 555, so willing to take the 6-cent dip here to see if we can get the move back up. But it seems like we're having a hard time buying up off of 550. I would have expected a little bit of stronger buying coming into this level. So we just broke down through. Let's see if we hold up. If we immediately get bought back up, it's not a big deal. Otherwise, we're going to take off some of these shares. Are we going to move back up? Nah, so take off half right now. So lost 6 cents on that. 6 cents on the shares. Still holding 15 shares, and I'll hold these down to VWAP, which is 540 right now. We just spiked right through VWAP, but immediately got bought up, so looking okay. Coming back up to our cost basis right now, which is 550. On the move up through 562 on the 1 minute, we're going to want to buy. Now on the 1 minute, the move up through 554 could be a buy spot. We don't want our candle to move much below VWAP here. If we're moving below VWAP here, it's really not looking great. So I'm gonna buy back my shares as we push up here to see if we can get a little bit of resolution for this move. 5 minute candles looking pretty big and pretty red at the moment. Lighter volume than the last candle, so that's okay. But we want to see this move back up here through 560. And the stock has been pretty strong, so I want to try to be a little bit more confident in it to see if we can get the move up. So we'll see what this next candle does. We start dropping, I'll probably take off half again, just because I don't want to hold it. I added on this breakout here, and we had a false breakout in the 1 minute. So back here. So right now holding 30 shares, but we're selling off a little bit. Like I said, we want this to hold VWAP. 5 minute candle is going to end in 30 seconds. And we'll see what the next 1 minute candle does right after this. We want to see it start trending back up if we think that it's going to make a move back up at some point in the near future. And we're coming closer to 9 o'clock, so we should have some more volume coming in, some more people starting to trade. And I think UPC is going to be the one people are watching. It's the highest gapper of the day. FTFT kind of making a little bit of a rally right now. Just came back above VWAP. So this is the first 1 minute candle of the next 5 minute candle. So yeah, we'd like to see some immediate move up here. Get some volume coming back into this. Make this look stronger so we think that we can get the move back up. So again, broke over 554 here, but struggling a little bit to get above these levels. Definitely hold though. Looking all right. Yeah, I mean, selling off quite hard off of that nice move to start the candle. It's just really unfortunate to see. Want to give this thing some time here, just because, like I said, it has looked really good this morning, but it's really not looking great at the moment. So now the last two 1 minute candle breakouts have pulled back significantly. Oh, yeah. So we just dropped through VWAP really hard there. So we'll see if we can hold 530. Does not look like we're holding anything very well. So pull the ripcord here. So trying to be a little bit more confident in UPC. We ended up taking this dip trade, as a dip through to 550, but just didn't hold very well. If we pushed up through 560 here, we could have added on again, looking for the price target of up in the 580s for the first place to take profit. But I mean, UPC, same with FTFT. I mean, so UPC has just been really nice from 820 moving up. So higher volume on the green candles, looking really good. On this 5 minute, we had a false breakout, we didn't hold, but I thought this 5 minute this 5 minute dip here, bounce off VWAP was going to be good because the next 5 minute candle started very close to VWAP, and it started at 546, VWAP sitting at 541. It pushed up, did a 1 minute breakout, was pushing up through 555, and I thought it was looking really nice there, but just turned around on us. So, yeah, I mean, doesn't always work out great, but we're looking for a nice bounce here. Yeah, once the volume came into UPC though, it was trading, really nice for quite a bit. It's looking really good, but last trade obviously did not resolve the way that we wanted it to. FTFT, there's signs of life on this. Dropped below VWAP, now come just back up above it, but still kind of moving sideways right around VWAP. I would say I'm still not super sold on taking a trade on that. And I think UPC definitely can still look good. I mean, I could see this bouncing up through VWAP as we come into 9 o'clock. I thought, since we're coming into 9 o'clock right now, I thought maybe we'd see some increased volume on it because it was setting up for a really nice move. We had just come down to VWAP. We had our first, nice 5 minute pullback on UPC. Bounced off VWAP on the 1 minute. New 5 minute candle started very close to VWAP. I thought that was, a great setup people would want to see. And it looked really nice for a second. We were buying up really nice. There was good green volume coming into it, but as soon as we tapped 557, all of the momentum just was completely sapped out of it. But we are getting closer to 9 o'clock. It's sitting just below VWAP at the moment, but I could definitely still seeing it. I could see it make a move back up. Some of these red candles, do have higher volume, which is not great, especially now that we're dropping a little bit more now. But highest volume 1 minute candle is still green. On the 5 minute, the highest candle is like a doji. It has a bigger wick than tail, but didn't really do much. And it was at a point where it was very extended, so I would say that is a better scenario, it not moving from start to end, than it, putting in like a big red candle after breaking out so much. People do say that sometimes, yeah, FTFT is, but again, I'm just not super sold on this. Every single 5 minute breakout it's made in the last hour has failed. So it's like, do you just keep trying to buy into the breakouts and then taking the loss until you finally get one that works? Or do you just, wait to see some more volume coming in if it's looking good, and then maybe buy into the highs if you actually think it's going to make a move? So like on these dojis here in UPC, so like this one on the 5 minute. So people do say that sometimes like a doji is like a change in trend, especially when you have a bigger wick than this. I would say in my experience so far trading, I mean, I've not experienced that, but this is the first time I'm seeing this like large wicked doji into extremely hard downtrend. So now this might be something that I'll look out for in the future. I thought, even though it had broken out and then pulled back on the 5 minute, it was staying relatively close to its breakout point. So I thought that this was, kind of a little bit of a, I mean, it's not a great indicator, but I didn't think that it was anything that was too bad. Yeah, maybe next time I see this now, I will know. I'll be a little bit more careful buying into some of these dips off VWAP. So now UPC has pulled back quite a bit, quite a bit more than we would have wanted it to. We would have liked it to have stayed, oh God, I didn't even have my charts up when I was talking about this. So it's this 5 minute doji here, where it just kind of didn't move. This is the kind of thing that maybe in the future I'll look out for something like this to know that it could potentially be a change in trend. So wait for a better setup if I see something like this in the future. Just something to take note of, definitely. And on UPC, I mean, we would have liked it to have held closer to VWAP here. The fact that it sold off even more and is lower before VWAP. Yeah, my bad. I completely didn't realize I had the wrong window up. But yeah, you do see this sometimes when people talk about this. But like I said, I haven't really experienced it very much. This is the first time that I've seen like a very clear indication where it's like doji with the big wick, hard move down. So maybe keep in mind like it's the doji with a big wick, also high volume, also failed breakout. Also this is like going into the high of days, so it's like there's quite a lot going on here that I guess I didn't take into account. But still, I mean, I think that bounce off VWAP still could have been nice. And we did take a nice bounce off VWAP. We moved from 540 up to 560, 558. So maybe I should have just taken the profit, which is what I did on FTFT. I took the 15-cent bounce off VWAP and I just took the profit that I had because FTFT was trading a little choppy. UPC, I was looking for a little bit, more strength coming into it just because of the way it had been trading for the last 20 minutes was looking really good. Increasing volume, a lot of buying. It was looking very solid. So, yeah, maybe you should have just taken the bounce, taken the 15 cents I got, 20 cents, and just, went home with it. I think I need to get better at like reading the orders and like telling when a breakout is going to fail like imminently. I feel as though when I try to do that right now, a lot of the times I'll get like spooked when it's breaking out, and like it breaks out, kind of sits there for a second, looks like a little bit of selling coming into it, and I'll be like, oh, it looks like it maybe it's not going to hold, and then I'll like sell it, and I sell it, and then 5 seconds later it goes 10 cents higher. So I feel as though me trying to read the orders and like the level 2 right now is more of a hindrance than a help. So I definitely need to get better at that. Especially when it's moving, very rapidly. UPC looking like it's trying to take a little bounce right now off the low. FTFT pulling back to VWAP again. So not really too much going on with that. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing as well, or that's what I'm trying to do more recently. Like I said, I need to like work on like very quickly context switching. So it's like if it looks like the market's good, like I need to be ready to start putting in shares and like letting everything ride. But in times when the market's bad, like I need to be able to, take those dips off VWAP and then sell them off quick, or buy into strength and then sell off as soon as it starts looking weak again. I feel like in this market, at least in the last few weeks, every time I've sold half into strength and then let the other half ride, 75% of the time in the last 3 weeks, it's just come back down to my cost basis, and then it's like, well, those other half of the shares I bought literally did nothing for me. So I just need to have better, I guess, situational awareness. Yeah. So it's like being able to tell when you think because of like the orders and the level 2 that it's going to continue making a move up versus when you think it's going to fold over, so you should take that profit quick. And I think that's something that you can only develop by just trading for a very long period of time. Yeah. The overall market's looking really good right now. At least when I looked at it this morning. It's looking super solid. Yeah, it's still sitting at 397 SPY, so it's like very close to all-time highs. And it's weird. I mean, I would have thought that like with the market, like the overall market looking really really strong, that the low flow market would also be like equally as strong. But the low flow market has been pretty weak in the last couple weeks. And even again, like they just announced like a new stimulus package, right? Like you'd think that I don't know, you think that people would be hyped to try to get some of these stocks now, but it's not really doing what you think it does, which I guess is the story of the stock market. I haven't looked at GME really this morning. How are we looking on GME? It is doing nothing. So, about what we'd expect. What's some of this other stuff that popped up this morning? ACY pulled back. SNOA pulled back. Ooh, so I have a Gatorade bottle. We got PFIN pulled back. GME's not doing anything. FTFT kind of sitting right at VWAP again. And ABUS trading with no volume, so. Yeah, I guess UPC and FTFT definitely still the two to watch at the moment. FTFT, so if you're like just sitting down, FTFT probably looks stronger because it's sitting above VWAP right now. But having traded it this morning, we know that pretty much every single time it came into these levels, like pushed up above 80, got close to 90, every single time it pushed into those levels, it pulled back. And every single 5-minute breakout, it failed. So it's like 5-minute breakout, fail. 5-minute breakout, fail down. Another 5-minute breakout here. So this one resolved a little bit as it came up through VWAP, but this 5-minute breakout, has failed back down to VWAP again. So it's like 4 times now that we've had 5-minute breakouts that just have not resolved properly. So, even though this looks decent, I mean, it's just not trading well. That's just all there is to it, really. And unfortunately, UPC selling off a little bit more now, so UPC is looking even worse coming into 9 o'clock. It's 8:55 right now, so we'll see what the next 5-minute candles on these two do. But at the moment, they're really not looking great. FTFT came up on news this morning. They are announcing an agreement to acquire a Bitcoin mining farm. So that's cool. Crypto news is, all the rage these days. But UPC, UPC not coming up on any news. And it's actually, like, really odd. Because I think they literally did a public offering yesterday. So, usually when they do an offering, the stock price drops and does not come back up anytime soon. So I find it very strange that UPC is moving up today. That might be why it's not really having staying power up at these levels. Is UPC? Oh, UPC's a recent IPO. And I can see why they did an offering. Because it went from, it IPO'd whatever at $5, or its initial list price was $5, moved up to $12 the other day. And then they did an offering, and now it's back at $5 again. So, I guess that makes sense. And for anyone in chat who doesn't know what an offering is, it's usually when the company sells its own stock on the market to raise money. So because they're selling their own stock, they drive the price of the stock down. So it's like one of the things you don't want to get stuck in. Like if you're holding a shares in a low float stock and they announce an offering, like there have been situations, years ago or last year even where, stock price will move up like 600%, and then they'll do like a public offering during market hours, and then it'll just like drop, halt going down, and then, the halt will open and it'll be like 40% lower than it was. So you really don't want to get caught during market hours in a public offering because the thing will spike down and then halt, and then you're kind of at the whims of the market when it opens back up if you can't get out in time. Minute and a half left before 9 o'clock here. UPC selling off even more. At this point, I want to say UPC is probably dead. FTFT also selling off below VWAP coming into 9 o'clock, which is not great, but it still has the potential to move up. It's still at least close to VWAP. UPC now is just running away from VWAP like it's the plague. Oh. Unfortunate. Yesterday was like, I feel like I looked at my scanners at the end of the day yesterday, and it was looking pretty dead. I think there was only like 2 tickers in the entire market that moved up above 25% yesterday. So, pretty small amount. Today, I mean, coming into the market open is it's looking fairly similar. You got 2 things above 25% today, as UPC being one of them, and UPC is just dropping like a brick. So I doubt this will hold that percentage for very much longer. Just hit 9 o'clock. Now it's time to watch those scanners. See if anything pops up on news coming into 9 o'clock. Nothing pops up on news. Probably end the stream a little early. I have to go back to the DMV today. I went yesterday, but I didn't have all the paperwork I needed. It's very sad, so gotta go again today. Little tick up on UPC. Also ticking up a tiny bit on FTFT, but say nothing too crazy. It's not really like a ton of volume is coming into these. So first minute of 9 o'clock, nothing popped up on the scanners. So we'll give it another few minutes, and then if nothing's going on, then probably head out. I think the things to watch, really the only thing to watch right now is really UPC or FTFT. SNOA, it hit $12.30 this morning, and it's pulled back down to below 10 now. Failed pushing above VWAP back here. I mean, this could have the potential to come back up, but I think UPC and FTFT are going to be really the ones to watch, since they're closer to VWAP. They're holding closer to their high of day. UPC put in its high of day pretty recently. So did FTFT. So, yeah, I think they're just looking slightly better. FTFT pushing up a bit. Still pretty light volume. Highest volume candle recently on the 1 minute is red. Volume for the 5-minute candles, most of the high volume candles recently are red. The highest volume candle of the day, though, is green, so I guess that's good. But again, having traded this morning, we know that it's just really not trading very well. A lot of these breakouts just are immediately pulling back. So I'm just not willing to take a trade into these breakouts unless it actually starts looking better. If we start coming back up towards these highs, but it's just like a minefield between 785 and 795. Look at all these wicks we have. It's like pushed up, wick down, pushed up, wick down, pushed up, wick down, wick, wick, wick. It's just like wicks everywhere, pushing up into and the wicks are getting lower and lower. So it's like this one's 795, then we have 791, and we have 790. Now in recent times we got 784. So it would need to push up past those levels for me to want to take a trade on it. Alright, yeah, so we're a few minutes into 9 o'clock now, and nothing really popped up on the scanners, so, and nothing going on with either UPC or FTFT. So, we'll be ready, hit the DMV, and then I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more momentum coming in tomorrow. UPC was looking good, but then, kind of jumped off a cliff. So, yeah. Alright, good luck trading, guys. Hope everyone makes money today. Oh, true. It is closed tomorrow. Yes, you're right. Alright. So I don't make a fool of myself. No stream tomorrow. I'll see you guys on Monday. Alright, see you guys later. Have a good weekend.